guys, I am so excited for this series that we are kicking off today. It is called 3 Misconceptions About Building Your A+ Career and A+ Life. This is part 1. We're going to cover this over the next 3 episodes, talk about each misconception one at a time. So as you know, I help high achievers build the lives and the careers they actually want to build their A+ career and life. Whether that means resolving your stress and burnout and building a way of working that lets you deliver incredibly high performance without the high emotional cost, or whether that means leveling up, improving your performance, progressing to the next level of your career, or whether that means making a career transition, getting clear on what's next, charting the path to get there, and executing that transition. And I also help you if you don't even know which of those 3 is the issue, right? You might be like, I'm feeling stressed out. I feel like I should be performing better, but I don't know if I have a performance issue or if I'm just stressed out. And also, maybe I'm not even in the right place. So should I be trying to get better here or should I go find something else? If you don't even know what's happening, but all 3 of those things are playing a role, I also help you with that. Right? As a total side note, I also want to say this. Some people, some coaches just specialize in one of those 3 things, right? Some people just focus on stress and burnout. Some people just focus on progression and promotion and improving your performance. And some people just focus on career transition. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, by the way. But I actually love that I focus on all 3 of those because that means, first off, I'm not like a hammer searching for a nail, right? I'm not going to always tell you, oh, this is a stress problem. Oh, this is a performance problem. Oh, you need to get out of here, right? I can tell you which of the 3 things might be happening. And it also means I don't have limited scope, right? It's not like I'm like, well, now you've got the new job, so good luck in it, goodbye. Or, oh, turns out you want to leave and not stay and progress here, so I guess I can't help you. I love that I can actually help you with all 3 of those components, which are real components of your career, because most career and life problems kind of have all 3 of those things like braided together, right? Like they're all kind of can be an issue at once. It reminds me of when I was at Harvard Business School, they didn't do this when I was there. They used to do it before my time. And I heard about it from some of our professors. So at Harvard Business School, you take all these classes, right? And each class has a topic in your first year. So you might take a marketing class or a finance class or an operations class, whatever it might be. And then of course you take an exam at the end of the class and you're like, okay, here's your marketing exam or your finance exam or your operations exam. And apparently in the past, you used to get these exams that were not based on any topic. It would just be like, here's your end of the year, entire year exam. And you just get a business problem. And then it's up to you to figure out, is this a marketing problem? Or is this a finance problem? Or is this an operations problem? Or is this a leadership problem? Right? And the reason they did that is because most problems in the world don't come to you labeled with what kind of problem they are. So you have to figure out what kind of problem it actually is. That's one of the reasons I like doing all 3 of those things for my clients, right? It's because you come in, bring your undefined problem to me, and I'll help you tease it out, figure out what the different components are, and then solve whatever it is. So all of that is a tangent. But when it comes to building the life and career that you actually want, building your A+ career and life, I wanted to take the time over the next 3 weeks to address 3 misconceptions that I see coming up again and again about this topic. Misconceptions that make people say, what does it even mean to build your A+ life? Should you do that? Is it worth it to do that? And I want to talk about these misconceptions because if you believe them, you wouldn't aim for your A+ life. You would settle for your B+ life, and you would think that's the correct answer. I have landed on the right thing to do by settling for my B+ life, but these are misconceptions. They are not truths. So if we can clear them up, then you can get started working towards your A+ career and your A+ life. So let's talk about misconception number 1, which is an A+ career and life is getting the corner office, being C-suite at a Fortune 500 company, making tons of money, having the biggest house on the block, sending your kids to private school, and when you die, they write a front page New York Times obituary about you, right? So if you believe when I say I help people build their A+ careers and lives, if that's what you think I mean when I say A+ life, and then if that's not what you want, if you're like, oh, but I don't know if I want the C-suite title in the corner office and more money than anyone has and a big front page New York Times obituary, what if I want all those A+ things? Then you might say to yourself, well, I guess I want a B+ life. I guess maybe I'm not that ambitious, or maybe my dreams aren't that big. So first off, I completely understand why you might feel this way, why you might have this misconception in your brain, because society, your family, your peers, LinkedIn, right? Conference panels, podcasts, the media, there is absolutely all of those things have an idea of what the A+ life is, right? That idea of what the ideal A+ life is absolutely floating in the air for all of us. And it does have those components, right? Making a lot of money, having a big impressive title at a big impressive company, having very visible career success, having a big breadth of impact, being talked about, being like a big person, right? That's a real concept. That societal A plus is absolutely a real concept that floats in the air and is reinforced by your peer group, by your family, by LinkedIn, by social media, by general media. That's absolutely exists as a concept. And you probably feel that societal A plus, that societal grading scale, even when you catch up with your friends, when you go to reunion, when you see people's updates online, right? Your own brain might be thinking, oh, this person's a director, but this person's a VP. This person's in the C-suite, but this person's stuck in middle management. This person is making this much money or that much money, or has this size of house or that size of house. This person's sending their kids to private school. This person's sending their kids to public school, right? You can't stop your brain from forming the societal A plus, like scorecard in your head. And then you probably also can't stop it from automatically grading people according to that scorecard, grading yourself according to that scorecard too, right? So it's very normal to have this idea that A plus means one thing that's standard across everyone, and it's this societally kind of like co-signed idea. And the reason that we have this idea in our head, it's almost like there's this ABC grading scale. Now, when you were in school, right, whoever was the smartest or worked the hardest or, like answered the assignments correctly, they got an A. And the people who did a little bit worse at that got a B. And the people who did a little bit worse at that got a C, et cetera, et cetera. And if you're a high achiever, you probably developed an identity around getting an A and being the best and doing really good work everywhere you go, right? And that grading scale makes sense in school because everyone is doing the exact same work and they're given the exact same learning materials, and then you do the same assignments. But somehow we tend to port over the same ABC grading scale into our careers and into our lives, right? And there can be this idea in our head that's like, if you're a good person, if you're smart and talented and good enough, right? If you have it and if you're good enough, then you get an A on the societal grading scale. And that A is the C-suite title and the big house and the money and the vacations and all these accomplishments in your life looks a certain way. And then if you're not as good of a person, if you're not as smart, if you're not as on top of it, if you're not as with it, if you're not as worthy, then maybe you get a B. And you have one level lower of title and one level lower of pay and one level lower of success. And if you're even not as good of a person as that, maybe you get a C and then you have this title and this level of money and this level of success, right? So we port over this ABC grading scale that's meant for math class, right? That's meant for a situation where everyone gets all the same learning materials and all the same assignments. We port that over into life where everyone absolutely does not have the same learning materials and the same assignments or even the same goals, right? But we port that over to life and we say, oh, the best people, the smartest people, the people that are the most good enough have a certain set of life outcomes, right? So when I say build your A plus career in life, I am not talking about the societal A plus career in life. I am talking about your A plus career in life. I'm talking about getting an A on your scorecard, your own personal definition of success. And your personal definition of success, it could be something like, I want my career to be stable, but I don't need it to progress particularly quickly because I want to have lots of time to do the activities that I truly enjoy, that just bring me joy and pleasure in the moment. And I also want to invest time in my marriage and just have an awesome marriage or an awesome relationship. That might be your A plus. Or your A plus career in life might be, I want excitement. I want newness. I want stimulation. I want to feel open and alive. I want to say yes to new opportunities whenever they came up. And I want to be myself everywhere I go. Whatever is my perspective, whatever is my opinion, whatever is who I truly am, I want to bring that everywhere I go. That could be your A plus. Your A plus could be, I want to help people. I want to be of service every day in my job. That's what I want to be doing, is being of service. And I want to be a really good parent. I want to feel so good about how I raise my kids and the impact I had in their lives. Or your A plus might be, I want to have a really strong relationship with God, and I want to spend a lot of time with my friends and my community. I want to invest in my community and invest in my friendships, right? So when I say I help high achievers build their A plus careers and lives, I am not talking about the societal A plus, unless the societal A plus also happens to be your A plus. That's totally fine, right? But what I mean is your personal A plus. And by the way, those examples that I gave you, this is one of the reasons I love using that 20-minute clarity tool with my clients and what I've been talking about in the last few episodes. Using that 20-minute clarity tool will help you define what your A plus is so freaking quickly. That's exactly what that tool is designed to do. So if you want to use that tool with me, book a free career audit in the link in the episode description. Put clarity tool in the booking notes when you book that audit, and I will use that 20-minute clarity tool with you, and you'll get your A plus scorecard right away. Right. So that's just a side note. But when I say I help you build your A plus career in life, I mean your A plus according to your personal scorecard. I like to think of this as the new lean in. right? When you think about the old Lean In, the book by Sheryl Sandberg, and the sort of like movement, right? And like a set of ideas that kicked off, the old Lean In was all about do what it takes to climb, to get the corner office, climb to the top of the C-suite, right? In a major public company. And she talked about all the sacrifices that she made and how she made it work and what it took to get there. And then the kind of implication of that book was like, hey, women, you should do that. You should be leaning in to get the societal A+, right? That's the old Lean In. I like to think of this as the new Lean In, which is getting clear on your scorecard, on your A+, on what you define as a successful life, as a good life, and then leaning all the way into that, even if it has nothing to do with the societal A+. And what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to discount your vision. Just if your vision, your A+ does not line up with the societal A+, I don't want you to discount that. I don't want you to tell yourself, well, I just want a B+ life. I'm not that ambitious. It's not that big of a deal. I don't want you to like take your foot off the gas because you're telling yourself it's just a B+, because when you take your foot off the gas, you don't even achieve that, right? It's not just a B+, it's actually an A+. And it takes an equal amount of effort to achieve all these different things, but you have to validate and own and embrace what your A+ is, because all of them are hard, right? Getting the societal A+ is really hard, but also every other A+ I just described is also really hard, right? Having a stable career, and then that gives you lots of time to do the activities you enjoy and have an awesome marriage, that's hard. That's an ambitious pursuit to give yourself. That is a worthy goal to give yourself. If your A+ is, I want excitement and newness and stimulation, I would say yes to opportunities when they come, and I want to express my true opinion everywhere I go, that's also hard. That's ambitious. That is a worthy goal. If you want to help and be of service to people and be an awesome parent, if you want a strong relationship with God and amazing friends and community, whatever configuration your true A+ has, it is a worthy goal, and it's a mountain. It's a mountain that to be climbed. All of these potential A+ scorecards take real work, real effort, real ambition. They're all worthy. They're all respectable. They're all cool, in my opinion, right? And some of them, frankly, are even harder than the pure societal A+. If you're just going for the pure societal A+, you can kind of put your family and your marriage in the back seat, and you can just focus, right, on work, and you don't have to make as many like balancing trade-offs. Some of these other A+ scorecards, I would argue, are actually harder to achieve than the societal A+, because you have to balance different components and you have to kind of figure out how to make it all work together. So all of them are difficult, all of them are worthy, all of them are worthy of your ambition and your full attention, right? And if you're going to work hard and really try and put your efforts forward, you might as well climb the mountain that you actually want to climb, right? Because the worst kind of hollow success is to work really, really hard to climb a mountain you don't even want to climb, right? And by the way, this is a huge cause of burnout, is when your brain starts telling you, hey, I don't even want to be climbing this mountain, so this level of effort doesn't even make sense. That's why your system will start burning you out. That's why it'll start resisting and creating inertia and creating anxiety and basically make you stop working, because it'll be like, we don't want to climb this mountain. This doesn't make sense, the amount of effort that we're expending to do this, right? So if you're feeling burnt out, and if this is resonating as I'm talking about this, I want you to actually say thank you to your burnout, because your burnout is saving you from a much bigger pain. It's stopping you while you're still halfway up the mountain that you don't want to climb. It's preventing you from expending even more energy going to a destination you don't even care about, and it's forcing you to focus and step back and actually ask the question, which mountain do I want to climb? Right. And so what you have to do is you have to get super clear on your own A+, your own definition of A+, your own success scorecard. You have to learn how to own it and embrace it without apology, without caveats. And then you have to lean all the way into it and work towards it, right? I love that concept of the new Lean In. Don't lean into climbing the corporate ladder unless that's actually what you want. Lean all the way into the life that you actually want. That's what I mean when I talk about building your A+ career and your A+ life. And I want to tell you, this is kind of challenging to do by yourself, right? It's hard, first of all, to even define your A+ and your success scorecard by yourself, completely alone with a blank sheet of paper. Your brain is first going to tell you, I don't know. Like, it's kind of vague. It's kind of fuzzy. Like, how would you even know what the ideal is? It's often hard for people to even articulate just off a blank sheet of paper, right? And then while you're trying to do that, while you're trying to pull that kind of fuzzy vision out of your brain, that societal scorecard will sneak in. Your parents' voices, your peer group's voices, your spouse's voice, your mentor's voice, so many little other voices, external voices will sneak in, and they'll actually make it hard for you to even articulate and put down on paper what your personal A+ is. And even if you could do those first two, even if you can articulate it clearly and separate out, what are the societal voices versus your own voice, it's also hard to just prioritize them in your head, right? Prioritize all the components and say this part is more important and this part is less important. And this is why I love the 20-minute clarity tool that I use with my clients, because it breaks through all of these issues. First off, they have already done the work to build a clear, MECE, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive inventory of possible values, of possible things that a human being could put on their scorecard. They have a phenomenal 16-part inventory. That's it. That's the whole word bank. That's everything you could possibly put on your scorecard. They've done the work to define those already so that you're not like fuzzy, unclear in your head, being like, what would I even put on my scorecard? They already have the word bank ready for you. Then the second thing they do is they don't just ask you what your values are or what you would put on your scorecard. They ask you a bunch of sneaky questions, right? They don't even tell you what's in the inventory. They're just like, just questions. Just don't worry about it. Just answer these questions intuitively, right? Whatever is your first response, it takes no more than 20 minutes to answer all the questions, but it gets your true values and your true priorities out of your head and onto paper. And it gives you a rank ordering. As you're answering these questions, it's not only able to tell you, okay, these are your values, but it's able to say, here's the rank ordering of that list. It gives you the prioritization as well, right? So that's why I absolutely love using this 20-minute clarity tool with my clients, because that first step of even defining your scorecard, defining your A+, it can take so long. It's so hard for people, and we can cut through that noise. We can shortcut that process, get it done in 20 minutes. Then you have something concrete to react to, and you can polish it up and say, okay, this is my A+. Now I know what I'm working towards. The second thing that's hard to do by yourself is it can be hard to lean into it all the way. It can be hard to embrace it. Chances are when you look at your success scorecard, when you look at the output from the clarity tool that I use with my clients, your brain is probably going to have some thoughts about it. Your brain might be like, ooh, I'm not supposed to prioritize those things. I wish some of those things that are lower on the list, I wish I prioritized them higher. Is this okay? Am I allowed to? This doesn't feel good enough. Right? I'm not supposed to prioritize this way, right? It's very normal for your brain to have a bunch of judgy thoughts about your own true priorities. I talked a little bit about my own brain's judgy thoughts about my own scorecard in episode 499 when I talked about my scorecard and how I used it to decide how I wanted to date. So you can go listen to that episode if you're curious to hear not only what my scorecard is, but also the judgy thoughts that brains might generate about them, right? But this is very, very normal for you to see your actual prioritization list, your actual scorecard that comes out of this clarity tool, and for your brain to judge it and be like, I don't want to embrace this. I don't want to own this. I feel a little weird about it. And then your brain is going to want to discount it and put it in a drawer, right? And be like, no, never mind. We can't work towards that. And it's so important that you take the time to actually wrestle with it, lean into it, and embrace it, right? And if you want to switch some of those things around and prioritize different things, you totally can. But this tool is going to show you this is the truth of how you actually feel. And then you have to decide what you want to do with that. And my recommendation is maybe embrace the truth of how you really feel and then build your life around that and figure out the best way to build your life around that. But it can be hard for people. And that's why it's so helpful to work with someone like me, who is non-judgmental, who has seen it all, who has helped people build lives around a wide variety of different scorecards, who's going to tell you it's okay. It's okay to be the way you are. It's okay to want the things that you want. And then how do we reconcile ourselves to that? And then how do we embrace it all the way so we actually can get to work building your A+ life and career, right? So that's the second reason it can be hard to do alone. The third reason it can be hard to do alone is even if you've defined it and gotten the clarity and the position of this is what my A+ looks like. And even if you've done the work to lean into it, embrace it, own it, and be like, this is me, I love it, I'm not ashamed of it, I'm not discounting it at all. The third step is now you actually have to work towards it. You have to close the gaps between your ideal life and your current life. And that also can be hard to do alone, right? I talk to a lot of people about like working in your career versus working on your career, working in your life versus on your life. Working in your life or in your career, that's just doing the work, right? Going to work, answering emails, prepping for meetings, building models, building decks, whatever it is that you do, that's the actual day-to-day work. You spend most of your time working in your life and in your career. You probably don't spend a lot of time working on it, right? Which is taking a step back, thinking bigger picture and saying, okay, what's not working? What adjustments would I want to make? Do I want to run an experiment? Do I want to try something different? What are the tweaks that I want to make? That's working on it, right? Stepping back, taking a big picture look, and then making bigger picture decisions about things that you want to change. Chances are your life is busy, your work is busy, and you don't have a ton of time to work on your life and on your career because you're so busy working in your life and in your career. But when you have that feeling that something needs to change, something is not right, whether it's my stress and burnout is too high and something's got to change emotionally, whether it's I'm not progressing in my career the way I want to, or maybe I've gotten to the next level, but I want to make sure that I perform really well at the next level, and I'm not sure exactly how to do that, or whether you just know it's time to make a change in my career, I've got to get clear on what's next, and I've got to chart the path forward. Whatever is the flavor of change that you know you have to make, whenever you're feeling like I think something has to change, it's because now it means it's time for you to work on your life, not just in your life. And it is hard to find the time and the space and the structure to do that, right? What you need in order to successfully make that change, first off, you just need to set the time aside, right? You need to set aside, when I work with my clients, we typically do an hour a week. Like, ask yourself, are you actually able to just set aside an hour a week to like work on your career or your life? Just no, right? But when you have a call with a coach on the calendar every week or every other week, whatever cadence works for you, you've already carved out the time and the space and the structure. Now it's actually going to get done, instead of being that thing that just gets deprioritized at the end of the day because you're not accountable to anyone else. You also need the right tools and frameworks to accelerate your problem solving, right? You don't want to be spending, even if you set aside the hour a week, you don't want to spend months and months and months trying to figure this out. You want to shortcut this and cut through the noise as quickly as possible. You need tools and frameworks, which I have aplenty, because this is all I do all day is I help people with these problems. I have collected tons of tools and frameworks. I can shortcut so much of the problem solving for you. And then the last thing you need in order to like close the gaps and actually build your A+ career in life, you need thought partnership, right? You need a space and a trusted thought partner to actually talk things out with all the time. My clients tell me, oh my gosh, that was so helpful to just talk it through. I gave you the brain dump, and then you broke it down logically. You saw what the different components were, and then you said exactly how we need to address each of the components, and you gave me my marching orders and my next steps, right? You just need someone to talk it through, because just quickly thinking about it in your head is not enough. It's not cutting it, versus having the time and space set aside, talking to someone who has lots of tools and frameworks that can break things down, and then just having a conversation with a thought partner will help you break the issues down logically, see all the different components, see what you want to do about them, and then actually make progress towards building your A+ life. So here's what I want you to do next. I want you to book a free career audit with me, and I want you to put the words clarity tool in the booking notes, right? And when you do that, I'm going to email you with next steps, but we're going to do that step one. We're going to get you super clear on what your A+ life is. We're going to define your success scorecard. It's so easy. It's so simple, and it is so freaking effective. And that is a gift for you to have for life, right? To know, okay, this is my exact success scorecard. However you're scoring on it, at least you know these are the variables I'm solving for. This is the point. This is the thing I'm working towards. This is what I actually want. So book your free career audit, put clarity tool in the booking notes. I'll send you over the next steps so you can actually use the 20-minute clarity tool. And here's what you're going to walk away with. You're going to get your actual A+ scorecard. So you're going to know exactly these are the variables I'm solving for. And we're also going to have a conversation so that you can understand these are the gaps between my A+ life and my current life. This is why I'm feeling the sense that something needs to change. This is exactly what's going on. These are where the gaps are. And then we're going to talk about making a plan to close them. What does it take? What's blocking you from closing them right now? And how would you actually close those gaps and build your A+ in career and life? Right, so that's what's going to happen. Book your free career audit with me, put clarity tool in the booking notes, and I cannot wait to talk to you. I can't wait for you to walk away with your A+ life scorecard. You're going to feel so much relief and clarity just from that. You're also going to have such a great sense of these are the gaps. This is exactly where they are and what's causing them. And you're going to have a plan for how to close them. And I'll talk to you also about whether working with me could accelerate your progress in closing those gaps and building the life that you actually want. I can't wait to talk to you.